You're listening to CX Passport, the show about creating great customer experiences with a dash of travel talk. Each episode, we'll talk with our guests about great CX, travel, and just like the best journeys, explore new directions we never anticipated. I'm your host, Rick Denton. I believe the best meals are served outside and require a passport. Let's get going. For my Turkish listeners, today's conversation will be with a brand you know very well. For my listeners who may not yet have heard of Hepsiburada, you'll want to know them. As the second largest e-commerce company in Turkey, Hepsiburada has over 12 million active customers, 90 million products, and over 250 million transactions per month. Supporting that volume, you'll find 4,000 employees, or over 10,000 if you consider last-mile delivery operations. Hepsiburada is a big deal. With that many customers, imagine what lessons they've learned about customer experience and what great ideas and stories they have. Longtime listeners know that I value hearing customer experience perspectives from all around the globe, every continent except for Antarctica, but I'm still hopeful I'll have a guest from there someday. Hearing the Turkish perspective today will amplify our global CX conversation and learning. That's why I am so excited to talk today with Esra Beyzadeoğlu and Buğra Asfuroğlu of Hepsiburada. Esra is the Chief People Officer and recently became responsible for customer experience and customer service. Buğra is formally titled as the Customer Experience Director for Hepsiburada, but most feel there he should really be called the King of CX given what he's doing. Get ready to hear great insights from a massive brand on how to create great customer experience. Esra and Buğra, welcome to CX Passport.
Hello, Rick. We are very happy to be here with you today. We are very excited at the same time because it's a kind of first time for us.
Yeah.
This kind of a podcast, I guess.
Well, it's going to be a lot of fun. I am absolutely looking forward to it. You know, I have had Turkish guests before, but I just love continuing to talk to this region and get such great insights from you. But so, Esra, let's just start right off with you. Your scope of responsibilities really intrigue me. Chief People Officer and leadership for customer experience and customer service. How do you think bringing those responsibilities together works really well for Hepsiburada?
Thank you, Rick. It sounds maybe different, but there's a vision and rationale behind it.
Yeah.
I just started talking, but also we have Buğra here. As you said, he's my king of CX for Hepsiburada, who is the leader of customer experience of e-commerce in Turkey. I mean, we have the highest NPS scores in e-commerce industry in Turkey. So I want to hear first Buğra as well. Buğra, you are here today together
hello,
with
Rick.
us.
It's very nice to be here with you. We are very excited.
Buğra, it's always good to speak to anyone who is called the King of CX. So I cannot wait to hear your insight and inspiration as we go through the episode as well. I'm in the presence of royalty, clearly.
Yes. Okay, so it's been 1.5 years that I joined Hepsiburada, Rick. And formerly, actually now I'm responsible as Chief People and Culture Officer of Hepsiburada. Culture is a very key word here because in our culture, customer is just at the heart of our everything. So before joining Hepsiburada, I have a career which is mostly related with technology, actually. Formerly, I was CIO and COO of a mid-sized bank in Turkey. And before that, during 20 years, I have lots of things related with technology, process, management consultancy, system integration, etc. So actually, people side is new for me. But when this kind of selection is made for Hepsiburada, I mean, bringing some kind of a profile like me to manage people and culture of Hepsiburada, our chairwoman and our CEO was thinking, we are a big technology company with great operations, with supply chain management, lots of operations around e-commerce and being a super app. So we want someone with a technology background to manage all these, who can build new teams, who knows the profiles, who knows the needs, and who can also manage the culture, which creates the everything inside the company, and creates have a big role, actually has a big role for managing the results of overall business, actually.
Right.
So after nearly 1 year of managing only people and culture and organization and big transformation from people and culture perspective, since last 6 to 8 months, I'm responsible from customer experience together with customer services as well. And since then, I really enjoy it. In my former experience, I had managed customer experience as well for a while. But here in Hepsiburada, I mean, considering the industry, the e-commerce industry, it's like, I mean, different from any industry and anything, any company compared with in Turkish markets, I can say. So last 6 to 9 months was very fruitful. I learned many things, and when you have a good team who knows what to do, who knows where to go. I mean, if you have a CX king to manage all those, I think you are lucky, and you flow with the things that you can do, that you can more imagine, actually.
Yeah.
So since then, as I also started mentioning, we were actually the NPS leader in e-commerce market in Turkish industry, and we continue to do it because it's a kind of race, actually. I mean, you cannot lie on it. I mean, you cannot say that we have the best customer experience in the market and it will go forever. No, you have lots of competitors, maybe we will also mention, and you have to do better things every day.
Yeah.
You have to think, what is the next big thing? And you have to, as we create every day, as we produce every day, new products, new features, new processes, new verticals, horizontals, etc. You have to have a holistic eye on everything, and you have to put the customer experience on heart of everything, on the core of our culture. I'm using this advantage, actually, as I'm the Chief People and Culture Officer, and also a head as a customer experience, responsible from customer experience. When we create the organizations, I have the power to manage the overall structure and put a pressure on teams, saying that you shouldn't forget customer experience. We should always start by looking at the impact of whatever we do to the result of our customer experience, and create the trainings and conduct the transformation programs, also putting the customer in the heart of everything.
That last part there really resonates with me, right? Because there's so many times as a customer experience professional, as a consultant, right? I go into companies and I try to help them create great customer experiences. And one of the things that you often see is perhaps a leadership team that, okay, the customer is kind of important. It's sort of a thing. We think about it. But you're describing exactly that, and that makes a lot of sense why taking the chief people officer, the chief culture officer, and having them responsible for customer experience allows that decision making that is at the top levels of the company to be focused around the customer all the way through from top to bottom. It's a brilliant sort of, I just haven't heard that association very often, and I was intrigued when you had mentioned that to me.
One more point, Rick. I mean,
hit me.
This is a vision of our chairwoman as well. I mean, our CEO and chairwoman, when they built the company, our chairwoman built this company back 22 years ago, when there wasn't even smartphones, the e-commerce, etc. She's a very visionary, wonderful lady, and she said one day everything will be going online, everything will be sold through online. So when she built the company, she put the customer on the core. She's still like that. I mean, whatever we do, we shouldn't forget customer. And this is related with their vision as well. So
Yeah.
I have to give credit to their vision, and I bought it actually.
That's fantastic. Well, and that's probably why you're there, right? If you're aligned with that vision, that's a great reason to be there. So, Buğra, Esra just said something there that triggered that thought, right? So it was a number of years ago, Chairwoman said, hey, look, everything's going to be online. And I know that Turkey has actually a pretty strong e-commerce culture already. What are some of the factors that you're seeing that's driving that e-commerce market?
Well, as you said, Rick, Turkey has a significantly strong e-commerce culture. Actually, the general population is open to digitalization. One of the reasons is the credit card penetration is very high. The banking sectors, in a technological perspective, is very advanced, and the smartphone penetration among the population is also very high. When we look at the numbers, actually, according to the data given by the Ministry of Trade, I'm talking about last year's 2021's numbers here. The monetary volume of e-commerce in Turkey has increased almost 70%.
Really?
I am repeating it, 70% in compared to last year.
Goodness.
So, and the total share of e-commerce has, in all other commercial activities, has reached almost 18%. It's growing. So last year there has been almost 480,000 businesses in e-commerce in Turkey. Well, the main reason for such a strong improvement in e-commerce is mainly its effectiveness for the customer. It's safe, it's easy. If you don't like the product, you can give it back. It's almost as fast as buying something from a shop. And most of the time, the prices are more affordable than the physical shops because there is buy box competition in the marketplaces. So this is the main reasons why customers more and more preferring e-commerce in Turkey.
This is your captain speaking. I want to thank you for listening to CX Passport today. We've now reached our cruising altitude, so I'll turn that seatbelt sign off. While you're getting comfortable, hit that follow or subscribe button on your favorite podcast app so you'll never miss an episode. Love it if you'd tell a friend about CX Passport, leave a review so others can discover the show as well. Now, sit back and enjoy the rest of the episode.
That smartphone penetration, the maturity of the banking system, and all of that, those are clearly some elements that are particularly attractive. I know that when I've talked with others in that market, it just is not to say that folks were necessarily digitally native, but rather it's just a culture and an environment where that is a very common and normal thing to engage in a digital sort of aspect. And I have to imagine that is what's influencing the thought that I've got for another question here for you. And it's for both of you. I'm not sure who would want to take this one first, but it's no secret that there's a big name in the U.S. in e-commerce that is now in Turkey as well. And I know that could present a challenge, but how is Hepsiburada differentiating itself from competitors, both the large one coming in, but just any competitor in that e-commerce space? How are you going to stand out?
Maybe I can take it. By the way, Rick, it is not alone. You know, we have the biggest one from the west, also biggest one from the east here.
Oh,
yes. Also,
both of them are here in Turkey, and the other one.
So you're getting attacked on two fronts coming into Turkey. Exactly. But that tells you that the Turkish market is incredibly attractive. If the big name in the west and the big name in the east are coming there, how are you standing out? How are you going to win this battle?
Yeah. Okay, as we are discussing here, it's a very fast-growing and very competitive market. Like in such a promising and competitive market as Hepsiburada, we believe that, and also we calculate that instead of competing only with marketing and/or pricing, we have to put customer experience as our main differentiation point.
Okay.
So we see customer experience as not only a tool to increase customer satisfaction, it is a crucial factor for our growth. So we put CX at the center of our growth strategy. It's a locomotive for our growth. Like, let me give you an example. Before the pandemics, when our customers, especially when all e-commerce customers want to return a product, they had to go to the cargo branches to drop their return. This process, especially during the pandemics, has created a health concern because most of the time the cargo branches are very crowded places. So during the pandemics, we came up with a service that we name Easy Return by Appointment at Home. Thanks to our tech teams and our logistic company Hepsiburada, our customer may easily schedule a return directly, a return appointment from the app by directly selecting their desired dates. And our cargo company, Hepsiburada's courier, will go to the customer's door and pick the return. So this project helps customers to have more convenience with their returns. And since it is the first of its kind, it makes us stand out from the other platforms. So therefore, it increases loyalty and our consideration. This is how we invest in our feature and product development in order to create unique selling propositions to the customer.
And Rick, this became very fruitful and wonderful project for all of us, and collected many awards from Turkey CX Awards and also International CX Awards. And it has been a very important part of our delivery and after sales experience, actually, and which helped us a lot to increase our NPS and maintain it, actually.
It's funny, as I was hearing that specific example, it triggered two questions, one for each of you. Let me start actually with you, Esra. And it is, that clearly was not an easy initiative to do. It was not a cheap one, right? There is real work. So how does that decision get made at the leadership level? I'm thinking it's tied back to a lot of what you'd said earlier around culture and the customer at the center. Maybe walk me through, what was that like when the leadership team was deciding this is what we want to do for the customer?
I'll start, and if you want to add something, Buğra, please interrupt. Actually, when we look at our strategies from top level, and how to differentiate ourselves for the next thing, we decide some initiatives in the company. So this was one of the initiatives that we started, like some other initiatives, which impacts a lot our customer experience. And we built some cross-functional project teams for taking live these kinds of projects. Another example may be Next Day at Your Door project. Okay. So we started that project, and in 2 to 3 months, we changed the structure of our delivery experience. For the moment, we have now 35 million products that can be delivered next day at your door.
Nice.
Right, Buğra, it's now 35 million products, I guess, and many merchants are included in this program. So if you create the awareness of the importance of this initiative across the units, from business, commercial, category, marketing, branding, product, IT, delivery, operations, etc., there are many things that should be done. It's not only an IT project. It is a kind of operating model, many changes at the same time. And if you create the awareness of it and you say that this will be an important initiative for the company, then we run for it. I mean, we manage the common objectives and work accordingly, actually.
I may add something. Once you start this kind of huge initiatives in the company, and like with the important parties with you, you are also creating solutions with many other things. Not only for this project, you are touching almost every aspect of the delivery experience.
Yeah. And so I'm curious then, when there's so many initiatives, Esra, you were talking about that. Buğra, I kind of want to know a little of this. How did you know this is what the customer wanted? How did you know that there was the pain point of dealing with going to the courier offices, and that the solution that would work would be the one that was the at-home appointment pickup. What was the voice of the customer? How did you know that that's what you wanted to do for the customer?
Well, the ideas are mostly coming from our customers, let's say.
Yeah.
Not the word by word, but through our researches and through our rich data pool. We are looking to the market researches, looking at the customer services data, operations data, where we lack, which of the part of the journey is causing more pain points, deeper pain points. And this is how, according to the impact analysis through the customer experience or customer satisfaction, you can see which part of which journeys and which part of that journeys you have to touch, and then you prioritize them according to the volume of the effect and the emotion that created to the customer, and then you execute it.
All right, so a little change of pace here. I know that Turkey is a place that I want to visit sometime, but have not had the opportunity to, but it would be a journey for me. And I know that sometimes those journeys it's nice to just have a stop in the lounge. And I imagine when you've been a part of your journeys as well, stopping in the lounge is a nice little treat as well. So let's take a little change of pace here. Let's join me in the first class lounge. We'll move quickly here and hopefully have some fun. What is a dream travel location from your past? We'll start Esra, go first, and then I'll hear from Buğra.
I don't know if you believe or read astrology, Rick.
I'm aware of, yes.
Okay, my horoscope is Sagittarius.
Okay.
So Sagittarius is very well known with its willingness to travel. Whatever it takes, we have to travel. We have to find some new places, meet new people, see new places, etc., etc.
Nice.
And this pandemic impacted mostly the Sagittarius people. So as soon as it's finished, I just went back to my normal life, and every weekend I'm traveling inside Turkey, outside Turkey, etc. So if you say to me dream travel location from my past, for me, I don't want to go to a place that I have been to once. I want to see new places because I'm a Sagittarius.
So your dream travel location from your past is everywhere. I can't wait to hear what your next one is going to be. But Buğra, what is a dream travel location from your past?
You picked the right people here when the question is travel, Rick. By the
Excellent.
way, it's hard to decide.
Right.
But I might say South Africa.
Ooh,
South
very
Africa,
nice.
yeah, it's a perfect place for road tripping, perfect food, perfect vineyards, great drinks. If you are a gin person, I don't know if you are a gin person or bourbon whiskey person, but I am a gin person.
Yes, I'm all of the above.
Okay. I pick C, all of the above.
Yes,
Yeah, okay. I am a gin person. It's a perfect place for gin lovers, and there are great experiences.
Nice.
I went to cage dive there with great white sharks. It was winter, but once you're in the cage with them, you forget about the cold.
Well, no thanks. Sorry, not gonna. I'll join you with a gin and tonic on the beach, looking at you there in the little shark cage. But no thanks for me. Let's go reverse here. So, Buğra, dream travel location you've not been to yet.
I have a long list, which I would like to start with Peru and Cuba.
Similar with Buğra, because it's not so close here. So we have to have more time than weekend to go some kind of a place like that. And I really wonder that culture, Incas, and also Cuba is different from many perspectives, I guess. And also, Rick, now, as you know, at least 2 people in Turkey, you have 2 houses in Turkey, it means. Turkish hospitality is very well known across the world. You should also consider visiting Turkey soon.
Oh, it's on my list. Absolutely. In fact, what I'm particularly excited about is Turkish Airways is going to have a nonstop to my airport. So very soon, I will be able to just get on the plane, and when they reopen the door, I will have landed in Turkey. So I'm looking forward to that. You mentioned food, Buğra, but I'm going to start with Esra. What is a favorite thing to eat?
Actually, I like local Turkish cuisine a lot. So in eastern side, every place in Turkey, wherever you go, you meet with different kind of delicious food you have never tasted. So I like Turkish food. I will vote on that. And especially the eastern and southeastern part of Turkey. You have to go on a diet after you make some kind of weekend visit to those kind of places.
I fully understand the pain of eating while
Kebabs,
traveling and what that looks like.
mezes, many things.
Very nice. Buğra, what about you?
Okay, it's around 6:30 here. We are approaching the dinner.
It's not making you hungry.
I'm very carnivorous person, so I would say medium cooked steak.
Very good. So the other direction here, what is a thing your parents forced you to eat but you hated as a kid? Buğra, you want to go first?
Let me think. Normally I love food, but celery. That's it, celery. My mother tried to disguise it like potatoes in order to make us eat.
It is amazing how as parents we find ways to try to trick our kids to eat things. Esra, what about you? What's a thing your parents forced you to eat but you hated as a kid?
I was a very, clever, and I ate everything. So, I went to dormitory school at high school. So you had to eat everything to survive. So my parents didn't push me a lot.
All right.
Now I have some troubles with my son that I never experienced or never had with my parents. But there isn't a specific food that I didn't eat.
Funny. That's funny. You have to eat to survive. I love it. Going back to travel, we're about to leave the first class lounge, but I'm curious. Esra, we'll start with you. Buğra, we'll end with you. What is one travel item, not including your phone, you will not leave home without?
There should always be a book with me.
Very nice.
A book with some sort of short stories. I always take a book with me, actually.
Very nice. Buğra, what about you?
Well, I started traveling during the beginning of my 20s, around 20 years ago. So there was almost no internet, very few. There is no smartphone, by the way. So I used to travel with guidebooks. So I still, most of the time, if I go for a long trip, includes road trips. I travel with a guide.
For those that don't know Hepsiburada, and I admit, I didn't know the brand very well before we started talking, but it is a wide-ranging brand. Traditional e-commerce, but also instant grocery delivery, flight tickets. There's even your own payment company. Hepsipay, I think it is. But to the customer, it's one brand. It's one experience. So, Esra, Buğra, I think this question's for you. How do you unify your understanding of the customer and help all of those divisions create a great experience for your customers, given that they only see one brand?
Well, as the top strategy, as we mentioned, as we've been talking before, customer centricity is one of the core values of Hepsiburada. As a CX team, we try to listen to the customers, understand their requests, demands, complaints, and we try to come up with fast and effective solutions. But as you mentioned, it is not always easy or simple to project this philosophy, this way of working to all departments in such a fast-growing organization. In this case, it is mainly the responsibility of customer experience department in Hepsiburada to overcome this challenge.
Okay.
In Hepsiburada, CX is a centralized department.
Oh, okay.
we are a centralized department for all the verticals. We are working with all the verticals, HepsiPay, HepsiJet, HepsiTravel, for all the verticals, all the product teams, and all the operations. So this ensures reflecting customers' voice strongly and clearly across the organization. It also ensures the timely actions for customer satisfaction. This is how we convey the voice of customers throughout the entire organization with a centralized customer experience team.
I just took a look at the clock, and we are basically out of time, and that makes me sad because there's so many other things that I would want to ask you. But Esra, I'd like to close out by something you had said all at the beginning, and we talked about it woven all the way through. And I imagine Hepsiburada is no different than other companies. There's always competing priorities inside the company. So thinking back to that customer centricity you mentioned earlier, how are you helping the entire company put the customer at the center, the entire company put the customer at the center as they prioritize their business areas?
Actually, Rick, it was very good experience to be with you here today. And when we participate this kind of sharings, and we also learn something from your experiences, and we remember what we have achieved, and we become happy, actually. Nice. We increase our happiness, I guess. So to reply your question, actually, as part of our general strategy, we believe marketing competition alone is not effective in gaining market share. So positive customer experience in goods and services, instead is critical to acquire market share, and actually it lies at the core and at the heart of our growth strategies. So one thing that stands Hepsiburada out at this point is positioning customer experience and unique selling proposition as our core marketing strategy as well. Not only on the core of culture, but for the business results as well, we see that it is very, very important. So we therefore highly value the customer experience and closely follow all factors impacting that, as Buğra mentioned, through surveys, research, call center feedbacks, from operational data. And as monitoring this data is critical, we are investing a lot on all unified customer journey team to facilitate the data tracking. And we do not consider this data as mere figures. We also take into consideration any customer suggestion concerning pain points, all journeys, parts of the journeys as well. And once we aligned our strategy with this approach, we substantially reduced the conflict of interest between business growth and customer needs. As we have mentioned before, so that data-based feedback is a major component of our work, and we prove this to all management, and they all know the importance of what we do, and they value it. And we discuss and achieve the things all together. And it is like, from the human resources perspective, the people perspective, it's like main competencies that we want our employees to have and to improve from all their journey in the company, from employee experience perspective as well. They should know the customer is everything in Hepsiburada.
That's Esra, what a great way to close us out, because that takes us all the way back to that first observation of having the chief people officer and chief culture be responsible for customer service, customer experience. Today was particularly insightful. So Esra, Buğra, thank you so much for sharing your insights today. Thank you for giving me additional color into the Turkish e-commerce and customer experience market. Thank you for helping me understand how Hepsiburada is really focused on the customer and how you're using customer experience to be able to differentiate against some of these incoming competitors. There's nothing quite like talking to the king of CX and also talking to a chief people officer who has control and responsibility for customer service, customer experience. I've been so delighted hearing your stories today. Thank you so much, Esra and Buğra. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Rick.
Thank you for having us, Rick.
It was a pleasure.
Thanks for joining us this week on CX Passport. Make sure to visit our website, cxpassport.com, where you can hit subscribe so you'll never miss a show. While you're at it, you can check out the rest of the EX for CX website. If you're looking to get real about customer experience, EX for CX is available to help you increase revenue by starting to listen to your customers and create great experiences for every customer every time. Thanks for listening to CX Passport, and be sure to tune in for our next episode. Until next time, I'm Rick Denton, and I believe the best meals are served outside and require a passport.